Welcome back! If you watched part 1 and 2 of this step-by-step roadmap to make your own game in 2025 and you're still here, then that means you want to make a game. You know why you want to make a game and what kind of game you want to make. And I guess if you're here, that means you want to use Unity 3D. Great choice, so let's get started. Just in case you are the one person on earth who has not seen one of the tens of thousands of tutorials that tell you how to open a new project in Unity, we'll go through that really quickly. Then, in less than 10 quick minutes, I'll show you how to set up URP in Unity so that we can get started on your exciting new game. Welcome aboard, let's get started. So go to Unity's site and download the Unity Hub. You go to New Project, then you go and look at their core templates. For Rescue, I decided to use URP because I'm using Cinti low poly assets and they don't need the HDRP. Name your project. It's usually a good idea to not use any spaces or special characters. Choose your location and whether or not you want to connect to Unity Cloud or use version control. Once the editor opens, I usually remove the README assets. I don't need those, it just keeps the project kind of clean. Then you're going to go to the package manager and update or remove any of the packages that are already in the project that Unity provided for you. For instance, I'm not going to use JetBrains, so I'm going to remove that. Then go back to the Unity registry and add the packages that you do want. For instance, Cinemachine. There'll be some others that you need, but you can install them at any time. Next, go to Windows, Text Mesh Pro, and import the essential resources. Then I like to double check and make sure it's got the correct script editor that I like to use. So go to Edit, Preferences, go to External Tools, and Visual Studio is what I want to use. Next, I'm going to go back to the project settings and make sure that my company name is set. Again, probably a good idea not to use any spaces, so I typed in Zoozle Zone. We'll go through the rest of this stuff later. So a few quick little steps that you need to do to get your URP set up before you start on your game. Go to Edit, Project Settings, look over here at your graphics, and then your default render pipeline, make sure that you have your asset there. I chose the PC RP asset. They've got a mobile one set up for you, but I don't design mobile games, so I'm going to use the PC as my default. You can look over here in the inspector window and see the kinds of things that you can change. Next, go back to the Edit Project Settings Quality and come down here and again make sure that your PC RP asset is set up in your render pipeline asset. If you don't have anything here, it will default to the standard. So here's a few more initial steps that you'll probably want to do. For instance, you might want to consider anti-aliasing. This is set up on your main camera. As you can see here, if anti-aliasing is off, you can see some artifacts here, some like little dotted lines, or when you hit play, it can be flickering lines. So go to your main camera, come over here to the inspector, look under rendering, and you can see that it has no anti-aliasing set. You have 3 to choose from. They each have pros and cons. I'm using high-end PC, so I'm going to use temporal anti-aliasing, TAA, and you can see the difference here when I click it on versus when I click it off. And this is more pronounced, not in this video, but I'm going to choose the TAA. I'm going to go back over here after I've exited play mode. I need to go back over here to the camera and make sure it's set and save. Now, if you want to modify your URP assets, choose your PC RP asset or your mobile if you're going to use that. Like I said, I'm developing for high-end PC. I want to make sure that it's set for HDR precision 64 bits, and I also want to check the LOD crossfade. Here's another feature you might want to consider, the GPU resident drawer. Make sure you've got your PC renderer selected. Go down to GPU resident drawer. It's disabled by default. and you can see that the batches are 493. There's not a lot going on in this scene, so that's very low. When you hit instance drawing, you can see the batches go down to 329. Again, that's not a huge difference for this little scene because there's not a lot going on, but as your scenes get bigger, you'll see a bigger difference. When you have instance drawing turned on, you have the option of including GPU occlusion culling. When it's disabled, the occlusion culling goes away. When it's enabled, you have the option of turning occlusion culling on. One thing you need to know, if you do choose the GPU instance drawer, you have to have a forward plus renderer. So go back into Edit, Project Settings, Graphics, go down to the Batch, Renderer Group Variants, and make sure you say Keep All. Then you need to go down to the PC Renderer, not the PC RP asset, the PC Renderer. Go into the Inspector, make sure it is forward plus. And one little thing that you can do with this also is the Analysis Debugger, the occlusion culling. So you can go to the Window, Analysis, Rendering Debugger, choose GPU Resident Drawer, and Occlusion Test Overlay, turn that on. Then you get these little flickering lights that tell you something. I'm still learning about this, so we'll go over this in more detail in a future video. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching and hope you come back soon.